This is the Weigh-In Podcast by Ben Watt Chestnut and the occasional pop-in Sebastian Romero. On this week's Weigh-In, we talk about Kevin Dresser and the Iowa State Cyclones, how they went to the Cliff Keen Las Vegas Invitational and they took the team title. So the one team we have not been looking at that's looking real solid is Iowa State. So we're going to break down what that looked like, bracket by bracket for them. But nonetheless, it was fairly interesting that, in our preseason preview, we weren't talking about Iowa State. We didn't even look at the strength of that program. But boy, were we wrong. Iowa State's got a good-looking program in this midway, halfway. I kind of feel like halfway through the season, Iowa State's doing well. So, yet again, that is this week's Takedown Thursdays, by the way. So if we jump right into this one, I mean, like literally, the Iowa State Cyclones have just been on a roll. Like when I say that, I mean like they've been on a roll. I just say there's no right or wrong way to. There's no right or wrong way to look at it. That the Iowa State Cyclones have done what is I like to call an amazing thing. I think that was a really good thing that has gone on, and that they did a really, really good thing. So that's fairly interesting. That went on for Kevin Dresser. So that was a way to go. And they had the team title. And they had it locked up before the final session, which is crazy. So, real crazy situation that they had it locked up. So now, really, if we look at Iowa State, if they wrestle well and they wrestle NCAA's well, the 1, 2, 3, really everybody's gonna say no, the one's always Penn State. No. We got good looking, we got really 3, 4 good looking programs. Look, we knew the Iowa Hawkeyes had a good looking group, but the strength of that group right now is into question. We knew Nebraska's got a good-looking group. We know Okie State's got a good running group. And now Kevin Dresser just added Iowa State to the conversation. So really, I say that's about 4 good teams. I mean, obviously, you would say there was a 5th good team, Penn State, obviously. But really, the first good team, Penn State. We obviously know Penn State's a good team. But you got 4 really good programs that, think about it, they're not all just one conference. They're not all just one conference either. They're kind of, it's not all one conference, which is really good. And you look at that and say, wow, that's a good looking. So that in itself is crazy. So if we go on over and we talk about this Cliff Keen. So first and foremost, we're going to start at 125 for you. We're going to start at that 125. Let's see if I can find it for you. Yeah. This 125. So we pull up these 125 bracket. They had Steve-O Poulin. So Steve-O, we start off, he was the 1 seed, according to the Flow Wrestling bracket. He was the 1. So that was according to Flow Wrestling bracket. He was the 1. So let's get on into this one. Steve-O Poulin started off getting a tech fall against T. Owens of USAF. which was an 18-1 victory. So you look at already off the bat, 125. They're getting bonus. We talked about bonus make the difference here. Bonus make the difference. We talked about that. So then he goes, and this is what was what I thought was pretty good. We talked about this this quarterfinal, not quarterfinal. I'm sorry with that. We talked about this quarters matchup, and again, bonus. He gets a fall against the number 9 Michigan wrestler. So he was seeded 9, so against the 9 seed, and the 9 seed who really didn't win that well. He faced Tyler Cincinnati of Kinsley, or he faced Tyler of Ryder, and he won 8-5. So that was kind of it wasn't a huge win, and Tyler was the 8 seed. So we talk about Steve O'Poulin went right on through. So then you talk about Steve O does get beat, and he gets beat against I think it's Jet Strickenberg of West Virginia. Now, don't get me wrong, Jet Strickenberg is a really, really good solid 125. So I'm not surprised at that. If for let's just put it out there for those who saw it, the Cliff King, you'll understand it. You saw a lot of wrestling, but we're kind of breaking down how this Iowa State, how this Iowa State team title happened. It's kind of what today's all about. So Jet Strickenberg wins. So he lost his Strickenberg, which was champ. So we're gonna go ahead and say that was Steve O'Poulin ended up taking 4th. Just so everybody knows, he took 4th. So if we go on over and so he dropped. So Steve O'Poulin lost in the semis, and which also was in sudden victory. So we talk about if you did not see that match, that's a good one to see. Yeah, yep. He lost in overtime to Jet Strickenberg. So if you're anybody that did not see, we talked about good matches to see. I would go back, Flow Wrestling, look at Steve O'Poulin and Jet Strickenberg. That was a good one. He lost in sudden victory with that. So if we get on back, we're going to head over to, he was in the consolation semis. He won 12-4. We'll talk about it again. The bonus make the difference. You talk about the bonus, right there, 12-4, 8 points. Right there. So we talk about that when what makes the difference in some of these tournament runs is the bonus points. Time and time after again. People always wonder why Penn State wins every year. Look at their NCAA title runs. Why do they win every year? The bonus points the Nittany Lions get when it comes to nationals is a lot different than every other program. So Steve O'Poulin ends up with 4th place. Lost to let's see. He lost to Nico Bravo of Stanford, 7-zip, which was interesting that he was a 2 seed. He was the 2 seed. Bravo of Stanford. And he lost to Oregon State's, just so we could let you know, he lost to Maximo Retina of Oregon State, 7-6, which is wild. That's another one. You did not see the 125 semis of Cliff Keen Las Vegas Invitational. I would go look at them because the 125 is not disappoint. You got the 2 seed goes down by 1 point, and you got overtime with Jet Strickenberg and Steve O'Poulin. So that's a real nice. That's a real nice one. So we're gonna move on forward with the rest of this. So we're gonna head up to 133. We talk about Evan Frost here. So interesting enough, Evan Frost started off the day with yet bonus again. We got a fall Evan Frost. He was the 1 seed. fall over to Anthony Lucio of Cal Poly. So now we're talking about bonus again. Bonus again. We really talked about this. The bonus are going to make the difference. Now, he faced Ethan Rivera of Princeton. He beat him 6-1. So, you talk about there was no bonus there, but still a good win, good dominant win there. That's 2 takedowns, as we know now in college wrestling, it is not easy to get 2 takedowns. It is not like that. I didn't. So we'll go through it. So we'll tell you how it went. First period, there was no score. Evan Frost got an escape. He got 1 point, and then he got a takedown, and then he got caution 1 point. So somewhere along the lines here, he ended up getting another 1 point, which I think it could possibly have been stalling. Yes. So look here. So there was a stall call on Ethan Rivera at 1 minute and 26 seconds of the second period. Then it was a Evan Frost escape. Then at 37 seconds left in the period, Ethan Rivera was hit stalling again. That was 1 point. Then Ethan Rivera chose bottom. It was a caution green, a caution red, so caution Frost at 2 minutes. And then at 57 seconds, Ethan got hit with stalling again, and there was 1 point Frost, and then he escaped and got 1. So that's how we got 6-1 there. Just to give you as a little rundown. Now, when we talk about that, we talk about bonus. So when you get to the quarters, now he's got a major decision. Evan had a major decision, which is 11. He won 11-2 over Gunnar Andrick of West Virginia. 11-2. Plus a riding time point. So that's 11-2, So that wasn't bad. So you see Evan Frost right now is doing really, really good. Now, which is real interesting is this semi. It's looking like the guy who made the semi of Wyoming was unseeded. He was an unseeded guy. It was a 13-7 decision. Evan Frost won, but it was 13-7. That's wild. Let's see what happened here. First period, we had a takedown. Second period, we had a takedown. First period, we had a takedown Frost. Second period, we had a takedown Frost. Wow. That's crazy. So second period, we have a takedown Frost. Then Frost chooses neutral as a takedown. Then Luke chooses top. There's a caution Frost, an escape, a takedown. Then you got Luke gets 2 reversal, 4 near fall, another 2 reversal, 1 escape, 1 riding time point to Evan Frost. Wow, that's wild. That's a good one to look at. If you didn't, I mean, obviously Luke didn't finish the comeback, but there's something to learn there. So you talk about Evan Frost did some well wrestling for Iowa State University, and when we talk about the finals. The finals was a medical forfeit, so Evan Frost won being a medical forfeit. So that obviously gives you, obviously that's not bonus you want, but it's bonus. So we talk about bonus. We talk about that. So that's an interesting one when we talk about it. That you get bonus like that. So we're gonna move on over to 141. So we're gonna see what actually happened here. So when we talk about 141, we had the boy Anthony Etrandia. Anthony Etrandia got off to a hot start. Tech fall in the first round of 32. Then comes out tech fall again in the round of 16th. In the quarters, he had a decision 10-3. The semis, he had a 12-2 major decision. And then he had a 6-2 decision over E. Griffin of Ryder. So that, Elijah Griffin of Ryder. So you talk about that in terms of everything that Anthony Echeverria wasn't letting up. And you look at bonus in the round of 32, bonus in the round of 16, bonus in the semis. Only the finals and it was the finals and the quarters where he didn't get bonus. That's correct. This is why Iowa State took the team time. Look at the bonus points they were getting. Look at the bonus they were getting. Look at the bonus they were getting. You know, so we're gonna move on up to 149. And we had the other Frosty. We had Jacob Frost. Talk about Jacob Frost. So right off the bat, round of 32, tech fall. There we go again. Bonus. Round of 16, major decision. Bonus. 9-1. So we talk about these aren't really between 141 and 149. I understand. I'm not breaking these down extensively because the scores are not really that close for tech falls. You know, they're tech falls. So we go here in the quarters. He had a 4-3 decision. Now, against Anthony, I think that's Anthony. That's Aiden Valencia of Stanford with 4-3 decision. Okay, Jacob gave up a stall. He stalled twice in the end of the third period. Ooh, he got hit at a minute 27, and then he gave him another point. That's interesting. Interesting. So that's a good one, but a 4-3, not close. Still not no bonus. Now he lost to Elijah Rivera of Princeton. Jacob Frost. Which is fairly interesting. He lost 11-4. So, E. Rivera. That's not the first time we've seen E. Rivera either. No, I think. Give me a second here. I'm looking because I remember bringing up Rivera. I remember bringing up Rivera. I thought, yeah, that's Ethan Rivera. Ethan Rivera. Okay, yeah, I know I saw Rivera, but back on to where we were. We talked about he loses to Elijah Rivera of Princeton, 11-4. So that kind of took a toll. And he got a medical forfeit over D. Evans of Utah Valley, or David Evans. David Evans, he got a medical forfeit. Then he got interesting. He medical forfeit loss of to ASU's Arizona State's Caleb Larkin. Now, I think it's possible that this is a situation of, hey, he knew he was gonna play, so he just said, hey, I'm not gonna wrestle. Um, I can't speak for certainty with that, but I know that that's common in a lot of tournaments, and guys are out to save themselves from getting hurt. They'll medical forfeit their way out of the rest as long as they're placing. Um, but nonetheless, we know Jay Frost took fourth place, so real good look. You know, real good look right now. So we went through the first four. we talked about the first four that we went through that we've had. The first four, they've had a guy placing. So let's run this down. How this happened. So talk about it like this. Steve O'Poulin took fourth place. That was 125. 133. Evan Frost first place. Yet another placer. So now we're kind of getting into how this happened. You go to 141. Anthony Espondia first place. Yet again, somebody placing. We go to 149. Talk about 149. Jacob Frost to fourth place. Still placing. Still. Now we get to 157. We didn't break that down yet, but we will now. You talk about 157. They had, I think this is Vinny Zerman. Let me get you that. Let me get you that. Vinny Zerman. Yep, Vinny Zerman. So Vinny gets off to a hot start. Another tech fall. Talk about it again. Here's more bonus. You talk about it again. Then round 32, he's got a tech fall. Round of 16s, he's got another tech fall. And he was seeded 3. So you talk about in the quarters, another tech fall. And you talk about in the semis, he had a 7-5 decision against see if I can get it for you, against Daniel Cardenas of Stanford. Now, that's a good look at match. 7-5 is not a bad. That's pretty close. And Cardenas got an escape and a takedown, which looks real nice. So I'd say that's real nice. Zerman ended up with there was another medical forfeit loss, and he took second place. So you wonder if he got hurt during the Cardenas, but you really don't. It's just you really don't. You really don't. But we're breaking down how they got to where they got, and that's another one. Second place. We talk about 165. They had at 65. They had Aiden Riggins. Aiden Riggins, same thing. Hot start, tech fall. Round of 16s, he got a decision. Quarters, he got another decision. The quarters, he lost by decision 5-3 to Tyler. I think it's it's Ty Whalen of Princeton. Beat him 5-3. So and that 3 points is a takedown. So there's that. Let's see how Aiden did turn out. So now Aiden took fourth place. He took fourth place. But he did some let me get this one. He did some wrestling. Now he did some wrestling. As you call it, I don't know the correct term for it, but I know I always called it he did some I always called it underground wrestling because it was always like, it wasn't above ground. You're not in the bracket anymore. You're out. Underground wrestling, back mountain wrestling, whatever the case may be, consolation bracket wrestling. And he did very well. He got a decision 8-3 over Oregon State, over the Oregon State guy. Then he got another tech fall in the consolation to force, Contia force. Then he got a major decision in the consolation semis. Then he lost by major decision to Ty Whalen of I believe that is Princeton. Ty Whalen of Princeton. 11-2. So that's an interesting. That, the first match against him and Ty was a 5-3. And then you face him again, and now you lose 11-2, which is interesting. But nonetheless, even then again, another placer in a lot of bonus we're talking here. So when we get to 174, we get to that 174. We talk about 174. Let me pulling it up now. That was MJ Grayton. We know MJ's real good. So right off the bat, round of 32s, MJ gets beat 9-2. So you talk about that. And then right out, Conti's at 16s, tech fall. Now we're talking. Fall. Now we're talking. Then he loses in Conti rounds of 2 to Michigan 8-5. So we talk about it at this point. That is the first Iowa State wrestler not to make the podium. 174. Like, we're starting to see how they took this team title, but he got a lot of bonus for not making the thing. A lot of bonus for not, you know what I mean? Like, bonus it out, buddy. All the bonus. A lot of. So when we get at 184, that they had Isaac Dean at 184, 8-3 decision right off the bat, 10-3 decision round of 16s, 4-2 decision quarters, lost 9-5 in the semis to Conway and Franklin Marshalls, Jay Conway and Franklin Marshalls University. So James Conway and Franklin Marshalls. So we talk about that. And then James Conway beat Brock Montana of Michigan. 5-0. So interesting. He beat the 1 seed. Woo-hoo. So James Conway of Franklin Marshalls, huh? James Conway, huh? We got to talk about that. James Conway, huh? James Conway, so that's interesting. That 184. James Conway, huh? We talk about 197. We're going to get up to 197. They had Rocky Elam. Rocky Elam had a 17-3 major decision round of 16s. He had a major decision in the quarters. He had a normal decision 4-3 against Oregon State in the semis. Ooh. So we talk about it was a takedown escape. Oh, wow. He gave up stalling 3 times in the last 40 seconds. 41 seconds stalling, 28 seconds stalling, 11 seconds stalling. About almost lost the match on stall calls. Jesus. That's crazy. Rocky Elam in the finals had a 7-3 decision. So you talk about Rocky Elam, got a little bit of bonus there and was first place. So that's what you're talking about. So when you look at that, you talk about we had the 285 was I think it's Younger Bastia. Yeah, Younger Bastia. That was he got a tech fall in the round of 32s, a fall in the round of 16s, tech fall in the quarters, tech fall in the semis, normal decision in the finals, decision in the final. Look at the bonus. So we talked about this. Look at the bonus. So we talked about this. The only bracket. I got you. Was 174. Everybody else placed except 174, and that was MJ Grayton, who he should have placed. No reason why he shouldn't have placed. No reason why. He was 2 seed. So that's a shocker. So we're gonna go ahead and break down. We're gonna go ahead and see if we could find you the rest of the information here. If there is any to be found, we're gonna find it. The rest of that info here. We'll see if we can find you that information. But whew, boy, let me tell you, that was an interesting one. No matter how you want to draw it, that was absolutely interesting. Both ways you draw it down, that was interesting. No matter how you look at it, that was a really good run and performance by nonetheless Iowa State. That was a really good performance that they put on there. That was really good. So you talk about what the team scores were. You had Iowa State that had 183.5. You had Michigan at 99. You had Stanford at 97.5. You had West Virginia at 97. You had Arizona State at 92. You had Oklahoma at 80. You had we talk about this. They were so far ahead in team score that it's not even funny. Like they were so far ahead that it's not even funny how far ahead they were. You can't make that up. They bring a performance like that to NCAA's. I'm gonna tell you that podium is gonna look. It's gonna come down to the wire at NCAA's this year because if Iowa State brings that type of performance where you have one guy not place, boy, they're gonna be in the top five. No way. That top three is gonna look. It's gonna look interesting. How you get it now? For everybody that's gonna say we got Penn State at one. Well, well. Yeah, you could say Penn State won. You kind of look, you say, okay, Nebraska probably comes in second. And you say Kevin Dresser and his boys they come in third. You put Okie State at fourth. Iowa's knocked off of even being outside. They may just make the top five because the way Kevin Dresser beat them. Now, if Iowa has a strong team and they wrestle well, man, the Nittany Lions are going to have to wrestle well. So that's going to be interesting with nonetheless. So yeah, that is this week's weigh-in takedown Thursdays. I wanted to break down that Cliff Keen Invitational event because it looked solid. If you were Kevin Kevin Dresser and the boys, it looked really good. So with that being said, I wanted to break that down and get you some stuff on that. Because that was a phenomenal performance by Iowa State. So with that being said, I wanted to get that performance for you and get that down for you. But nonetheless, as I said, that is this week's Takedown Thursdays. I'll let you know we are 1,749 views in 2025. We are getting closer, 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 closer to the goal of 2K. So just to let you know, we are 251 views away from 2K. So let that settle in. From that many views in 2025 on this channel is absolutely crazy. But this is This is the weigh-in by Ben Rochester and the occasional pop-in Sebastian Romero. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share so we can hit that 2K goal. And as y'all know, that is all I got for you on this one. Weigh-in out.
The weigh-in where stories ignite.